This is Felt Recoil.
Welcome to the Felt Recoil Podcast. It's number 75, for real? Is that right?
Is that playing music right there?
It's out of,
Is that just my headphones?
it's out of this computer. It's music playing.
Okay, all right.
You okay?
Yeah.
You all right? We play music at the beginning of every show, but right now it's coming
It's
out
got a
of
weird echo.
a source you're not used to.
Headphones.
All right, my name is Kris, and across from me is...
A big baby.
How are you, sir? Patrick Hulan. You doing all right, buddy?
Yeah.
You sure? You sound...
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, all right. This is Felt Recoil episode number 75. I'm just surprised we're there. And we have a lot to get to. As always, we'll try and squeeze it all in before I get too lost in conversation. It's a habit I have. Sorry. But first, we want to remind you of our charity of choice for this week. That's Folds of Honor Foundation. Folds of Honor. You actually, if you have a QT in your area, QT is hand in hand with these guys. So support QT and support Folds of Honor. Since 2007, the Folds of Honor has carried forth a singular noble mission to provide educational scholarships to spouses and children of America's fallen and disabled service members. The motto says it best: honor their sacrifice, educate their legacy. So education for the youth whose parents gave their lives or their livelihood for the rest of us. Folds of Honor Foundation. You can find more information, feltrecoilshow.com/charities, feltrecoilshow.com/charities. Okay, on the docket, we're going to talk Yeti and the NRA and what I think is a just glaring hypocrisy.
Why would we talk about them?
Well, if you'll give me a second. Glaring hypocrisy of the gun community. I think we do this thing constantly where we overreact. We don't slow down to learn all the facts. And then out of the other side of our mouths, we scream about the mainstream media being liars. So let's stop doing that. We'll dive deep into that in just a second. CDC has been caught burying a study that would show about 2.5 million defensive gun uses every year. 2.5 million a year. That's a lot every day. Plus, we're going to talk about what it means to be a subject. What does it mean to be a subject? And why do I hate the United Kingdom? And why do I just despise and loathe and every other strong word for hate, unadulterated, impassioned, and inflamed hate? All this talk about the royal baby. I could not care less about the royal babies. They're little baby tyrants. Their parents are tyrants who are leeches off the people. I want nothing to do with them. I hate them, and I will tell you why. And also, Bernie Sanders.
Hey, Chris, real quick. I was just wondering, do you hate the royal children?
I don't hate the children.
Because I couldn't fully tell
if that just
if
came
that
out.
was like a thing or...
That was not meant to be directed entirely at the kids. I meant the family as a whole. The queen mother.
Makes it so much better.
The prince and his wife. These people who have done nothing to gain the status they have in society outside of happening to be born in a certain position.
They got a lot of cool hats.
That's all they've done. She does. Anyway, we'll get into that. Plus, Bernie Sanders. I think this is the second time Bernie's been our Voda of the week. You do
Which
something
is impressive
dumb.
because
yeah.
You would think it'd be a lot more.
Is it the first? Is he our first to do it twice?
I believe so.
Very well be possible. All right. So we'll talk about that as well.
It's actually impressive that Voda himself hasn't been the Voda more than once. So maybe we should change this to the Bernie of the week.
Like, I feel like that's kind of unfair because it would be like if we were having a socialist of the week every week and it was constantly Bernie Sanders.
Gotcha.
That would get repetitive, and you'd go, I mean, yeah, we know he's a socialist. If your Voda is the dumbest person you can find out there every week, and you give it to literally the dumbest person out there every week, Voda himself, then what's the point?
Yeah, the shtick would get old.
All right. So Bernie wants every American to have a job guaranteed by the government. Now, I think this is a great idea if we do it my way. And I'll tell you what my way is. But it's a bad idea because, according to Fox News, Finland has announced they'll end their universal basic income program before the year's up. Turns out, I know it's going to seem crazy, but it turns out that actually if you give people a guaranteed income, they will refuse to work. Isn't that's weird, right? Like you would think the opposite. Hey man, we're going to pay you $1,000 a month no matter what. You would think that guy go, oh my goodness, I'm so grateful. I can't wait to work hard every day for you.
Yeah. I'm probably going to put in 80 hours this week.
Actually, as it turns out, quite the opposite. Quite the opposite. So we'll give you all the details on all of that. Let's start with the NRA and Yeti. And if you don't know, oh my goodness, if you don't know, I don't know what you've been doing. Let's get the NRA statement on Yeti, because I have like the counter statement pulled up. And I want to make sure that we give you what the NRA says. So, all right, alert. This is from Tuesday. Oh my goodness, I haven't read this one actually. Okay. Let's find the original, because now, listen, this is going to kind of prove my overall point, but we'll start here. Here's a Florida alert. All right. This is from the NRA. For years, Yeti coolers have been a hot item for sportsmen at the Friends of NRA Foundation banquet and auction events around the country. These foundation events raise money to support youth programs and educational programs nationwide. The youth of America benefit from these programs. They're the future hunters, hikers, fishermen, women, bikers, blah, blah, blah. So the NRA says, suddenly without prior notice, Yeti has declined. This is the important part here, okay? Yeti has declined to do business with the NRA Foundation, saying they no longer wish to be an NRA vendor and refused to say why. They will only say they will no longer sell products to the NRA Foundation. That certainly isn't sportsmanlike. In fact, Yeti should be ashamed. They have declined to continue helping America's young people enjoy outdoor recreational activities. The NRA Foundation is a nonprofit charitable organization. In this day and age, information is power. We thought you needed this information. Now, so again, the important part is Yeti has declined to do business. They should be ashamed, and they are refusing to say why. And they will not sell, all right? So they will only say they will no longer sell products to the NRA. Now, those are the NRA's words. Yeti says they'll no longer sell to the NRA. Yeti responded and basically said, not so fast. In fact, we'd be glad to sell to you. You just have to do it under new terms. And the NRA basically responds like a petulant little brat. So, all right, let's do this. Let's pull up the official Yeti statement. And this is, so the NRA releases the statement I just read you, and Yeti responds with a statement of their own. They started on Twitter, and then they put it on their Instagram. It did take them about 3 days to get this out, which I thought was weird. But either way.
I did hear some rumblings in the industry that they were carefully calculating their words through their legal team for this response, and that's why it took so long.
Okay. So Yeti says, a few weeks ago, Yeti notified the NRA, as well as a number of other organizations, that we were eliminating a group of outdated discounting programs. When we notified the NRA Foundation and the other organizations of this change, Yeti explained that we were offering them an alternative customization program broadly available to consumers and organizations, including the NRA Foundation. These facts directly contradict the inaccurate statement the NRA ILA distributed on April 20th. Further, the NRA ILA stated that in the same public communication, Yeti has declined to continue helping America's young people enjoy outdoor recreational activities. Nothing is further from the truth. Yeti was founded more than 10 years ago with a passion for the outdoors, and over the course of our history, we have actively and enthusiastically supported hunters, anglers, and the broader outdoor community. We've been devoted to and will continue to directly support causes tied to our passion for the outdoors, including by working with many organizations that promote conservation and management of wildlife resources and habitat restoration. From our website to our film footage and from our social media posts to our ambassadors, Yeti has always prominently featured hunters pursuing their passions. Moreover, Yeti is unwavering in our belief in and commitment to the Constitution of the United States and its Second Amendment. The NRA responds. And this is where I'm listen.
Can I just say real quick? They
Yes.
probably should have led with that last statement because most people
Don't read that
have
far.
not read it. They haven't read it, period.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that have probably didn't make it through the first paragraph. And so they probably should have led hard with that just because people are dense.
Now, here's the thing. If you're one of the countless people I've seen on social media who say, sounds like damage control to me, here's the problem with that retort. Saying it's damage control implies that you blindly believed what the NRA told you the first time. It means you take it at face value. There's no room for error in what the NRA told you happened. Now, am I to believe that an organization like the NRA, which is vastly, just grotesquely under attack these days from all sides, isn't prone to a little embellishment to fundraise? You have to remember, the NRA is a political organization. Now, wait, hold tight, don't get mad. They're not a political organization in the extent of politics. They're a political organization to the extent of they are out there involved in politics while fundraising, while spending the majority of their money on education programs. Ergo, they're still a political organization.
That's an interesting take on it because Rachel Maddow actually told me that that's just where mass shooters learn their trade. So I don't know if I agree with you on that.
I think I was doing the math the other day, by the way. I think the number of mass shooters that were NRA members is 0. And Bernie has at least 2 supporters under his belt now.
So are you saying that Rachel Maddow fellow's got it all wrong?
He's all sorts of wrong.
Okay.
Even with that haircut. Come on, man.
All right.
It's like a half mullet, you know? Like the top and sides look like it's leading to a mullet, but then the mullet's not there on the back. You know what I'm saying? It's just a little strange.
It's something, all right.
And he wears girl glasses, so it's weird. But definitely a manly voice. So good for him. Good thing he's in radio. All right. So that's my problem with saying that the Yeti statement is damage control, is that if that's your take, I don't think you've taken enough time to breathe a little and say, okay, maybe the NRA is embellishing. Maybe they're not. Maybe the NRA is 100% right and Yeti is 100% wrong. But judging from the 2 statements, and judging what we know about the 2 companies and their history, I don't imagine that Yeti would suddenly cut off the NRA because Yeti isn't stupid. You don't sell $400 coolers to people by being stupid. We know people who work for Yeti, and they live the hunting lifestyle. That's the staff that works and represents Yeti. It's not a bunch of yuppies like everybody wants to paint it to be. And let me tell you one other quick thing before I read the NRA's response to Yeti's statement. I actually take much greater offense to intellectual theft than I do with not supporting the NRA. So if you want to go out and buy your Arctic cooler, fine. But understand that you're buying something that is profiteering off of a stolen idea that company had to pay a lot of money for. Arctic got sued by Yeti and lost big time.
They lost their pants on that.
They lost big time because they knew what they were doing. They stole the Yeti design, and then they sold it for a lot less, and Yeti took them to court and said, this is what they're doing, and the courts agreed. Arctic is full of thieves, quite frankly. All right? Yeti, at least, are honest people. Even if they hate the NRA, which I don't think they do, but even if they did, at least they're honest about it. Arctic can take a long hike off a short cliff. That's a company I despise because they're based on intellectual theft. Okay? I just don't care much for that. And what we're doing to Yeti, by the way, one more thing. What we're doing to Yeti is so similar to what Black Rifle Coffee did to Starbucks. It's so similar to what Trump supporters did to Marcus Lemonis with Camping World, where he said, if you're the type of Trump supporter that goes to a white supremacist rally, frankly, I don't care if you shop in my businesses. And what we did is we took the white supremacist part out, put some ellipses in there, and then acted as if he hated all Trump supporters. And we drugged the man through the mud, and we acted like, oh, he doesn't like Trump supporters. listen to me. Listen clear. You look stupid when you hop on these bandwagons. You look stupid and you do a disservice to the firearms community.
That's a typical reaction of taking things on face value from social media.
Right.
So the Marcus Lemonis thing is just that. That happened in 2016. People are still, for some reason, sharing that story as if it's fact with their little stick. I'm never going into Camping World ever again.
Right.
Okay. Did you even shop there before?
Right.
Do you even know who this man is?
Nope.
Did you follow up?
But I know what my Second Amendments say.
Yeah, both of them.
They say, tread on me. I'll bite you like a snake. I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think
you're right.
I think that's the Third Amendment to the Second Amendments. It's Amendment B, 2B. It's in 2B. Jefferson. All I'm saying is the media wants so badly for we in the gun community to be a bunch of ignorant rednecks that when we hop on things like this, we kind of prove the point.
Yeah, give them what they're looking for.
Don't do that. And now listen to the NRA's spoiled brat response, okay? Listen, I'm an NRA life member. I will always support the NRA because I believe in the work they do. I do believe this might be strike 2 in my book with them. Strike 1 was the bump stock ban. I disagreed with that. I still disagree with it. We cannot give them an inch. They will take the mile, and the NRA gave them an inch in the bump stocks.
I am not an NRA member because the Hughes Amendment. And I don't care that I was 4 years old when it happened. I'm still mad about it.
Okay.
Explain. The Hughes Amendment was essentially what banned machine guns from the public being able to buy them in 1986.
And the NRA supported that.
The NRA absolutely supported it. They said, "Hey guys, just listen. Shh, listen, guys. Okay, if you will just go along with us on this one.
But my Second Amendments.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of like we're gonna throw them a softball. We're gonna make them feel like they got this one.
All right,
and then we're gonna come back hard on the backside. And we're gonna really fight hard for you." And we're gonna make sure everything's good.
Fight for my Amendment 2B.
So that's what everybody did, and the Hughes Amendment passed, essentially outlawing machine guns for again public consumption. And then they didn't really go back and fight for those rights. So here we are, and I can't have my 240 Bravo, and I'm pretty upset about it.
But you can get the civilian version of the saw for $7,000. Mo.
I guess I could.
Mo.
Just don't see the point.
I call my buddy Mo. Hey, man, you got any of them civilian saws next to your LC9s? All right.
That guy's going to punch you out.
He could, too. If you don't get the joke, you could go watch me buy a 509 at the FN Pro Shop, where I asked the manager to please show me the LC9s. Poor guy. He was so kind to put up with us. Okay, the whole staff was, not just him. So the NRA strikes back and says, quote, "If it wasn't bad enough that Yeti dropped the NRA as a client, now they're calling us liars because we informed our members and friends of their actions." Okay, listen. Doesn't that sound like Rachel Maddow? Like it really
absolutely
just is 100%. We didn't think this through. The NRA Foundation has over 1,100 Friends of NRA committees around the country. These committees host banquets and auctions that are attended by hundreds of thousands of guests each year. These events raise funds to support charitable causes. The NRA Foundation supports the needs of youth programs. For many years, we have purchased coolers from Yeti for our auctions. We have auctioned off many thousands of Yeti coolers each year. Yeti recently dropped the NRA Foundation as a client. Not only would they not take our orders for more coolers, they forced us to cancel orders already in the system that they said they would not fill. 3 days after we notified you of Yeti's decision to drop the NRA, Yeti issued their prepared statement. I mean, as if the NRA's was spontaneous. This one sounds spontaneous. Anyway, all right, back to it. Yeti issued their prepared statement in which they admit they dropped us, but claim they simply eliminated the discount program and dropped other unnamed organizations as well. That's news to us. Perhaps the people writing Yeti's damage control statements are not talking to the people who enforced Yeti's decision and refused our order. We have even offered the Yeti Roadie in one of our sponsorship levels for 2018, which we've had to cancel. We told you the truth. Yeti's attempt at damage control is to say our statement is not accurate. Shame on you again, Yeti. Good day, sir. You know you made a mistake, a big one. Now you must live with your mistake. Okay.
Almost, that last part almost reads like Trump wrote it in a tweet. Big mistake. Huge.
Huge.
Believe me. It's going to be a huge mistake.
I got ice in my freezer. It's cold. It's always cold. It's in the freezer. It's cold. You don't need a Yeti. Your ice is in the freezer. It's cold. There's no need for your Yeti. It's cold in the freezer, ice.
All you beautiful people.
Oh,
you know it. You know it.
Shut
all you
up.
beautiful people.
All right, Adam Kraut.
Stupid question. That's what I told a guy, I think yesterday at a press conference. Somebody asked him something about pardoning some guy, and he goes, stupid question, and just moves on.
I gotta say though, the thing
I kind of like it. I mean,
exactly right. The thing I like about Trump is the fact that we finally have a president, good and bad both, that just says what the rest of us want to say to people. Like I don't think he's gonna
the man has no
pussyfoot
filter.
around about
he's
it.
got no filter.
Right. I like that. I do.
mean,
despite its faults, I like it about him.
And you know what I think is that because he's doing it, I think now we can all do it. So the next time somebody says something like that to me, I don't care if they're a customer or maybe I'm buying something somewhere.
Right. Remember that Joe Biden fired 2 blasts?
Of course.
You know, grab your shotgun and fire twice outside the house to scare away bad guys. That's what he told his wife Jill to do. Remember that? And remember the guy in Washington State who actually used it in court? So now that's me with my boss. He's like, hey, Kris, did you get that video done? I go, stupid question. Everybody turns and looks, and I'm like, I mean, the president does it. I can do it too. Can't be illegal. Doesn't have to be illegal to get you fired for $1 million. Ha! Yeah? Did you get a degree in political science? Didn't think so. All right.
So if anyone listening's hiring, I'd say by about noon tomorrow, Kris is going to be looking for a job.
And we'll see. Again, if the president can do it, so can I.
Send him an email. He's not good with tools. Keep that in mind.
All right, Adam Kraut, who's a good guy. He's an attorney who's very friendly with the firearms community. I think he might specialize in firearms litigation. Adam stumbled across a notice from Yeti to the Quail Coalition. And it is a notice from Yeti that says this. Dear Vendor Program Manager, Yeti recently completed an audit of its retail, corporate, and consumer programs. As part of this, we have made changes to support our pricing policy, revised and mailed new dealer agreements, and updated our various pricing programs to clarify and simplify the Yeti approach. As part of these changes, we have made the decision to end a variety of legacy vendor programs, including the Quail Coalition, effective immediately. Please note that we will fulfill all existing orders that Yeti has received as of today, but we will no longer accept new orders under the legacy vendor program. As a result of ending our vendor program, we request that effective immediately you remove from your existing digital assets our intellectual property and trademarks, blah, blah, blah. Should your organization wish to purchase customized Yeti products, they can do so through our broadly available bulk discount program by contacting corporate sales at yeti.com. Please contact your business development representative should you have any additional questions. Seems to me pretty cut and dry. But again, since we're holding NRA to a standard, let's hold Adam Kraut to the same standard. He tells us this isn't verifiable, or that he hasn't verified it yet. It's not verifiable.
It's a picture of somebody's phone.
Yeah, it's a picture of an email on somebody's phone. And they took the screen cap and sent it to Instagram, and Adam stumbled upon it there, and he says, if Yeti truly did restructure their legacy vendor program, then shame on NRA and Miss Hammer for crying wolf. They are certainly entitled to their opinion, but not their own set of facts. On the other hand, if Yeti did specifically target NRA, then their actions speak for themselves. So therein lies the rub. We don't know. We don't know at this point. Yeti is saying one thing entirely contrary to what the NRA is saying. And who are you going to choose to believe? Are you going to believe the people, as Patrick, you just pointed out, that say we're here to defend your rights? Look, you need to understand, there was just a massive boycott against the NRA within the gun community. A massive boycott when they went anti-bump stocks. They have lost membership. Membership is down. They might be desperate.
I feel like that's probably a given.
I felt like you were going to say something. I cut you off. Did I cut you off?
I mean,
As usual.
it happens.
All right. So, yes.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. Well, listen, the takeaway for me is please don't get on social media and say how much you hate Yeti. And don't blow up your Yeti tumblers and your coolers and say, I'm not going to drink out of this roadie anymore because Yeti hates the NRA. Stop messaging gun companies on social media and demanding they stop carrying Yeti products.
Just like you did with Springfield Armory a year ago.
Got over that kind of fast.
Yeah, somehow everybody's memory of Springfield Armory
But you know what?
completely lapsed because everybody's buying their stuff like crazy.
And I think that's a perfect example because everybody was wrong about Springfield Armory. This idea of, well, you know, they supported a bill that was going to be anti-Second Amendment, and now they're backpedaling for damage control. Well, what actually happened? Their lobbyist that they paid money to took a stance and told them it meant one thing. And when Springfield realized it did not mean that, they fired the lobbyist group, which was a representative for several other companies, and then said, absolutely not. Absolutely not. We don't support that position. So give them a break. Give
Let's
them a break.
just say that Yeti did end this, what they're calling it, the legacy vendor program. So is it not, and again, we don't know that that's exactly what happened. I'm tending to believe that that's what has happened because companies often do phase out these programs in favor of newer ways of doing things.
Right.
I don't really feel like it's that big of a deal. But the bigger point would be, I think it's well within their rights and their prerogative to end this at any time they want to with anyone who is a member of it. Mm-hmm. And why the NRA feels like it's a little beyond me that, and maybe this is the way they think, but that, okay, here's what we're going to do, guys. Let's get around this dark table with this room filled with cigarette smoke.
Right.
And tap our fingers together like evil geniuses.
Right.
And let's go after Yeti. Okay, guys? Got everybody's full support on that?
Gotcha.
And what that's going to do is that's going to get people that buy $400 coolers to suddenly write us checks.
Right. Right.
I guess I don't understand the logic. So I don't know that the motivation, you know, the means equal the actual result of what has happened here.
Right.
Or if they were intended in that way.
Let me ask you this.
It doesn't make a whole lot of sense in either direction.
It's no secret that when you work in a retail store, whatever the product is you sell, the manufacturers of those products will offer incentives if you can sell enough. You'll get kickbacks. You'll get discounts on their stuff because what they want is for the salesman to have their product in hand to be able to use it so that he can then relay that information to people who will pay full price for it. Okay? So there's employee discounts offered from most major manufacturers will offer you some sort of
any
discount.
industry.
So let's just imagine for a quick second that I come on this program and I say to you, I got to tell you, and I'm just going to pick somebody. Well, let's not pick somebody. Let's just say, you know, X gun company no longer supports the shooting community. And I'm going to tell you why. Some of us work for an hourly wage to help the gun community. And it used to be that Company X gave us a discount on their product, and today they ended that discount. Now, you would look at me and you'd go, well, why do you deserve a discount? Because you're an employee of the store? Yes. And so Glock, Ruger, Springfield, etc., should be knocking 35% off retail pricing so that I can take one home and tell you about it and have more guns than you. You would say that's actually kind of self-centered. So my question is, why does the NRA feel like they can pout, moan, and stamp their feet when a discount program is ended to them? And again, it would be one thing if Yeti could be proven to have only cut off the NRA. But it seems Yeti ended the program entirely.
Well, but what you're describing in that sense is there's a give and take, right? So gun company X gives you a discount.
Right.
And in turn, you tell everyone, hey, I've got this great whatever, and it's the best thing you've ever seen or never seen, and you should probably buy one.
Yep.
And so then that person, if they buy into that because now you have a personal relationship with that item, They in turn buy it. Okay, now that deal has kind of come full circle, right? What was Yeti getting out of this?
It's a great question.
Because if they're selling them at a discount, they're certainly not making their full margin.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're not really making their money that they could be making if it didn't have NRA slapped on the top of it, and then somebody's bidding for it
at $5 a ticket.
at $5 a ticket.
Yeah.
So they're not really seeing the full profit that could be realized through their product. So I don't see the give and take here.
I don't either.
Which
Except
brings
they
into
probably-
question why they're whining about it, right?
Well, I think they're hurting. I think this shows, and I have no proof for this, but I think this temper tantrum from the NRA shows that they're hurting. They're hurting. I think they're having people actively say, we don't want to do business with you. They're ending discount programs to NRA members, and that doesn't hurt the NRA financially. The NRA is not hurt financially when Delta Airlines says we won't offer discounts to your members, except there's less incentive to become a member of the NRA. So when Yeti says we won't sell you coolers and tumblers and roadies at half price, it means there's less incentive for me to go to the banquet.
I don't know if I buy into that. What person is going, should I join the NRA or should I not? Ooh,
Right. Yeah.
5% off on flights from Delta. I'm in.
That's a good point.
Nobody's doing that.
That's a good point. Good
Nobody's
point.
going to do that.
But do you think that's not the NRA's argument? Like, why? Then what?
Oh, no,
then
I'm
the
sure it
question
is their
why
argument.
does-
I'm just
yeah.
saying it's stupid.
Yeah, okay.
Just like I didn't know they had a relationship with Yeti. And I've been to NRA, Friends of NRA banquets
Yeah.
where I assume in the past these coolers have been there. I have no recollection of that.
Right.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not saying they weren't.
Well, and
I'm just saying, again,
as NRA members that have gone to the banquets, or as a member and a non-member who have gone to these banquets together,
right, I didn't want to go. You made me.
there's a premium charge on everything.
Absolutely.
On everything. Do you remember that time we went to the banquet and they literally, so there was a buffet. Remember this? And you had to pay to eat the buffet.
Yeah.
Right? So you paid per person or per table to be there to eat the buffet. And then they were like, is everyone done eating? And everybody's like, yeah, we're pretty full. And they said, well, there's a lot of leftovers, so we're selling the leftovers for $5 a box to take home. And I was like, but I already paid for that.
Paid
food.
$45 to get in
Yeah,
this
but
joint.
I mean, whatever the cost of the table was for us to
can't
be
have
there that night,
I can't have some
we
more.
paid. Yeah.
Have some more mac and cheese. All right,
So
guys.
what are you talking about? You're going to sell me the leftovers. It should be a courtesy. So my point is, the NRA is making its money. Hand over fist, it's making a ton of money. So it really looks silly for them to pitch a fit about a discount program ending. Look, you can gripe about Yeti coolers being $400, but I guarantee you, if you get a group of 100 people in a room and say to them, for $5 each, you've got a 1 in 100 shot of winning this $400 cooler, most of those people are going to buy at least one ticket.
Sure.
Probably 2 or 3. So you're going to double or triple your money anyway. So this whole thing just comes across to me as the NRA being a spoiled little baby that didn't get its way and is now stamping its feet. And quite frankly, it looks bad on all of us. I think that's why I'm mostly upset about it, is the NRA is making the rest of us look foolish, in my opinion. Look, we can't say that and I think he's right, but I'm going to use Mr. Guns and Gear as an example. Mr. Guns and Gear is getting trolled big time right now on YouTube, and he's posting about it on his Instagram page, and he's pointing out that the left has activated against him, and they're reporting all of his videos. And then they're telling him, I'm flagging this because I feel like it's violent and offensive. And it's just a guy doing honest reviews of firearms. He's not breaking any policy. But as soon as it gets flagged and YouTube has a reason, they're going to pull it off and they're going to shut him down. And he said this is modern day book burning. And I thought that's a really smart way to look at it. This is modern day book burning. So what's the difference between the witch hunt against him and the witch hunt the NRA has established against Yeti? I don't think there's a difference.
I don't think so.
So while I believe Guns and Gear is correct in his assessment, I believe he's also correct, not that he's saying it, But anyone who were to say the same goes for the NRA members out there screaming at Yeti about it, the same goes. Look, you have to be an adult enough to say, if you don't want to do business with us, I won't do business with you, so be it. But that doesn't mean you go around and bully everybody else into your opinion about it, okay? I've got places I don't do business with. I got things I don't buy and people whose movies I don't see because I don't agree with their politics. We've talked about that here before, okay? There's bands that I've boycotted when they've gone on tour because they were donating proceeds to Bernie and other people, and I just go, okay, well, I won't see them this year, and maybe I won't see them next year. Maybe I'll try what little I can to make them feel the effect of being involved in politics. Quick side note, I think that kind of stuff has worked, not because of me, but because I think enough people do it, because I caught an interview with Dave Matthews, who was a just very vocal Bernie supporter in the last election, and everybody told him, hey, man, I can't buy your stuff if you're going to support Bernie. And then he's given an interview last week about a new tour and a new studio album, and he promised no politics. I'm going to stay out of the politics. It's not my place. I'm a music guy. People don't come to me for politics. And I thought, hey.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, I mean, the guy woke up a little bit. So, amen, brother. I don't mind that you disagree with me politically. I'll still do business with you. My point is I don't want you ramming it down my throat, right? So if you're so-and-so and you support this and you tell me I'm an evil, vile person if I don't agree, I'm not going to do business with you. And I feel the same about the NRA. If you're the NRA and you tell me, if you don't agree with the NRA, we won't do business with you. Get the pitchforks out. Then I won't do business with you because I don't want to do business with those type of people. Make sense? I think so.
I wish I had known your stance on this before we started recording tonight, because I took your Yeti out of the garage and lit it on fire. So,
oh well, it happens.
And I would get you a new one, but I can't get one on the cheap from NRA anymore. So,
$20 at the raffle, huh? All right, we're gonna gloss over this, but it's worth noting that according to the Maven.net, which is Blue Lives Matter, out of Atlanta, a new paper out of Florida State University accuses the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. I thought it was the Center for, maybe it's plural. Okay. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention of hiding results from a survey they conducted that said guns were used for defense 3.5 times more often than they are used by criminals. There were nearly 2.5 million instances a year where people used a firearm for self-defense, defending others, or protecting their property, according to the CDC. Excuse me. The CDC conducted the study with data they collected from 1996, 97, and 98, and the findings were just recently uncovered. The unpublished study supported previous findings by FSU criminologist Gary Kleck and fellow FSU professor Mark Gertz, who have claimed since the early 90s that there were between 760,000 and 2.5 million defensive handgun uses per year. Worth noting, by the way, that obviously since the Obama years, gun ownership and concealed weapon permits are way up, which means most likely this number is trending upward as well.
Sure, yeah. Gun ownership up by millions. Millions and millions and millions.
So 2.5 million times per year at the high end of the average, maybe just under 1 million. I'm not good at math, but that's a lot per day. That's a heck of a lot per day.
That also would have been during the Clinton era ban.
Yes. There you go.
So think about that.
In 94, that started, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. Why do I hate the royal family? Well, basically because they're all useless people. And as you've heard me say at the top of this program and in podcasts before, if you want to gripe about the welfare state, look no further than the royal family. These are people who literally subsist off the work of other people and do no real work themselves.
I just imagine that inside that big clock they have, it's full of money.
That'd be cool.
And
it's
and that's why they can just chill.
You know what it is? It's Scrooge McDuck's Money Tower. Oh, yeah. Remember that? Where you dive and swim through the coins?
Absolutely.
Ooh, 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 ooh. Right?
Yeah.
And that is what Big Ben is. So tell that to your kids. Here's another reason why. If you remember Charlie...
I think it's funnier just to call it the big clock.
Makes me think, because we're from Greenville, South Carolina, and all the diner joints around here are called the Clock.
They are.
That's what it makes me think.
I'm just thinking
it's like something I would order from them. I'll take the big
like
clock.
I don't want to give them the satisfaction of calling it Big Ben.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a little like a finger in the eye.
What do they call them? Cuckoo clocks, right?
Yeah.
I was trying to think if we had a term we could throw at them, but I like what you're saying. Just call it the clock.
Yeah.
It's that old timepiece you guys got out there with like the bricks and stuff.
You mean Big Ben? I don't know. It's big clock.
It's the clock. Yeah. It's the sundial. Like glorified sundial you guys got. What's up with that? They probably need a clock because it rains all the time. And it was a day or night. And so you'd have to look up and see. Hopefully.
And they eat fish and chips for every meal. So you never know what time it is.
And pate. Okay. From the Daily Wire. This is a tough story to tell you about, but it tells you why I'm so angry with the Royals. Horror out of the UK concerning a sick 23-month-old baby named Alfie Evans. Early on Tuesday, Alfie was effectively sentenced to death by the UK court system as a judge denied his parent. Listen to this. The parents have requested to take him to Italy. Italy has granted citizenship to the child and offered to medevac him to their country to provide him with life-saving treatment. And the UK told the subjects, Alfie's parents, you cannot do that. You are legally prohibited. Think about this. You find out your child is riddled with cancer in a way that America can't treat, but Canada tells you, we got you. Come on up here. We'll treat you as citizens and take care of you. And the American government tells you absolutely not. You cannot do that. My question would be, who do I shoot first on my way out of the country? There would be no stopping me from getting my child out of the country. And I mean, this is the necessity that revolutions are predicated upon. This is where it all begins. This is where you say to people, if you are going to cost my family member his or her life, I will take yours to save them. That's the way this works. This is evil incarnate. This is absolute evil. So a judge ordered the child off life support. Child's battling for his life. The baby's parents are giving him mouth to mouth while sitting in a hospital, according to the Daily Wire. Evans's parents are giving him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation in a desperate bid to keep him alive after the court ruled he cannot be flown to Italy for treatment. Tom Evans tonight said he and Alfie's mom, Kate, are trying to help Alfie's breathing after his lips turned blue. Evans made his heartbreaking comments outside the hospital in Liverpool, where we were doing what a nurse should have been doing to sustain his life. Now they are saying that he looks really good, but all we know is he should be in Italy right now. Baby Alfie is believed to be suffering from, I don't know how to say it, but it's a mitochondrial DNA depletion syndrome. The medical staff at the hospital claim life support or further treatment is not in the child's best interest. Alfie's parents, however, have been fighting to get their son treatment. In a last-ditch legal effort to take Alfie to Italy for treatment, where he was granted citizenship and the offer for assistance, the parents were met with rejection. Quote, Alfie Evans' family has lost its legal challenge to fly him to Italy for treatment in what the judge calls the final chapter in the case of this extraordinary little boy. Daily Wire's Matt Walsh, by the way, tweeted this, and I think it's pretty brilliant. The British courts are holding an Italian citizen hostage and starving him to death. Let that sink in. I know it sounds really, really dramatic, but I would shoot my way out of that hospital if necessary. I would take my son wherever he needed to go before I would sit there and watch him die. Because you're dying inside anyway. Like I don't know how you come back from that. I don't know how you would ever live in the United Kingdom again, how you wouldn't flee. And to think, by the way, this is a country riddled with government officials who tell you that migrants should be allowed in unfettered from terrorist-rich countries, and you can't leave with your own child to get them life-saving treatment. Let that sink in.
A little puzzling.
Unbelievable. I would go in and say, we killed you once in 1776. We did it for several years, and I will begin again, and it will not stop until this is made right.
Hey, guys, real quick. Where y'all keeping the tea these days?
Unbelievable.
Go handle that real quick.
It is unbelievable. Like the John Q movie has nothing on what would rain down on this hospital. And I'm not saying
That's
that
a classic.
I'm not saying I could definitely pull it off, but I am saying if this father did, I would applaud him. Because in my opinion, correct me if I'm wrong, but if I work at that hospital, if I'm a doctor or a nurse at that hospital, and I'm looking at this kid and I'm looking at his family, and the family's able to resuscitate him, the boy starts to die and the family can resuscitate him, then I say, listen to me.
So does the Hippocratic Oath begin and end with a judge's orders?
That
would be my question.
You really think socialized medical providers are holding themselves to that?
Yeah.
I say they have a moral obligation to assist this family, and if they don't, they are helping murder that child. This is murder. This is a premeditation. Premeditated taking of life is the legal definition of murder. It is murder by the state. No two ways about it. And I wouldn't blame this dude if he went John Q on him. I would applaud him. And I say shame on anyone in that hospital or legal system who doesn't do everything they can to assist. Don't tell me you can't because your job's on the line. There are things in life more important. Stop it. Unbelievable. Okay, we're down to the wire, so let me squeeze our Voda in. Senator Bernie Sanders, by the way, all of these stories, facebook.com/feltrecoilshow. You can read them. Sound unbelievable, but they're real. Senator Bernie Sanders announced 2 days ago he wants to push a plan through to guarantee every American a job. Senator Bernie Sanders is preparing to unveil a plan for the federal government to guarantee a job offering $15 per hour and health care benefits to any American worker who wants or need one. Oh my gosh. It's not clear when Sanders will announce the plan, and a Sanders spokesperson told the Washington Post, it was all still being crafted. It's also not clear how they're going to pay for it. Republicans have long opposed a federal jobs guarantee, saying such a plan would be too expensive and impractical. We don't know how we're going to pay for it, but we're going to do it. Kirsten Gillibrand, a senator, tweeted out, if Republicans could give $1.5 trillion in tax cuts to corporations and the wealthiest among us, why can't we invest a similar amount in a guaranteed jobs plan for regular Americans who are unemployed and willing to work to better their local community? Okay, ready? Here's how you get me on board, okay? As I just mentioned a couple of minutes ago, all the socialists in America are usually one of two people, wealthy 1%ers or poor college kids, right? Who want to be artists when they grow up, right?
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
You start at the top and you tell Hollywood and you tell the musicians and the artists of America, all the artists whose work does not contribute to society at large. And I'm talking from your Dave Matthews guys to your local barista who thinks, crafting the foam in your coffee every morning is contributing something. We don't need you anymore because that does not contribute to the betterment of our society as a whole. So you take all these people. There's no more traveling musicians. There's no more professional actors. They cannot exist. If you will begin with them, look at the millions and millions they make. That is now all money that can go into paying each of them a living wage, $40,000, $50,000 a year, which is more than what Bernie just, offered there. 40 to 50 grand a year, and they get infrastructure gigs. So fixing the roads, digging the ditches, picking up my trash. I don't have to pay for that now because the government's doing it, right? You can end a lot of my property taxes. I don't have vehicle tax or gas tax anymore because, again, we have people we pay to fix those roads, and there's a program in place, right? You do that, and I don't have to put up with them on my TV preaching at me anymore, and you'll get me on board. Okay?
This is going to probably strike Bernie Sanders to the core when he listens back to this podcast and hears me say this.
Which he does every Thursday.
Yeah, well, of course. I can see him on the analytics. He's that one guy in Vermont that's actually downloading every month. This is going to really rattle his cage when he hears me say that not everybody actually even wants to work.
What?
I know.
What?
I know. This is groundbreaking stuff. This is why people come to this podcast. As it turns out, there's a large contingency of people in this country who have no desire whatsoever to do anything.
What?
More or less contribute to society. They don't want to do anything.
Now, normally this is where I would say it sounds like you're describing a 21-year-old me. But the fact is, you're describing me right now. Like, that's me right now.
Oh, so you're a socialist?
If you said, no, I don't want to work. I don't want to do anything.
Right.
If you said to me right now, Kris, you can survive by staying home and playing Minecraft and Fortnite with your boys all day, every day. And in fact, one day, eventually, the government will prop them up too. I would say to you, deal. And I would do that.
I would say the catch is you have to vote for Bernie for president next time around. You're going to do that?
Lucky for you. I hate that, man.
All right.
No, I'm just saying that is my nature. I'm very lazy and lethargic by nature. I have to continually find a way to motivate myself and say it's worth getting up and doing some work today, because given the opportunity, I would just shut off. I would just stop. I would rather sit in the office and play guitar than I would sit in the office and write some whatever, I have to write that day. I'd rather not do that. I'd rather not edit whatever it is I have to edit. I would rather just entertain my mind. Given the chance all day, every day, I would rather just entertain my mind, turn it off, not let everything, have to process through it. So I get it. However, you are 100% right as well. The Finnish government, you're not going to believe this, exactly 2 days after Bernie announced his plan, the Finnish government is announcing that it's going to end the country's universal basic income program by the end of the year because it was a pilot program that they hope to expand. But it didn't work because the government has chosen to try a totally different path. Because right now, this is true, the designer of Finland's basic income program says the basic income right now is unconditional. Now the government is pursuing conditionality, meaning nobody would work. Nobody would work for it. Proponents, quote, the proponents say the program wasn't comprehensive enough to gauge its merits. Critics say it would have required a 30% tax increase on an already overtaxed population. Some cities, including San Francisco and, well, I don't see another one, but some cities, including San Francisco, all right, continue to look into the basic income theory.
No other cities that dumb.
Facebook CEO, here's our point proven. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg says basic income should be explored to make sure that everyone has a cushion to try new ideas. Listen, hate to break this to you, Mark, but actually that already exists. That's why you are who you are, because America is a place where you can try whatever new ideas you want. And here's how you do that. In your case, I believe you go to college on your parents' money. I don't think you were paying your way through college. And you say, these two guys had this idea I'm going to borrow.
Right.
And I'm going to turn it into something big and pay them millions of dollars to be quiet later.
So if you think about it, to really bring this show home today.
Lay it on me.
Mark Zuckerberg is the Arctic to the Winklevoss's Yeti.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
right?
He is. Yes.
I mean, he basically stole their intellectual property.
Stole the idea, paid them to forget about it. They didn't forget.
Settled for an undisclosed amount.
Probably
which essentially is admitting, yes, I did steal your stuff.
Sure. Yeah. Not allowed to talk about it. It's like pleading no contest. I'm not saying I'm guilty. I'm not saying I'm not guilty. I'm just saying no contest. And if you can't prove it, I walk. So your move, legal system. All right. Yes, that's actually a very, very good analogy because he stole.
Well, I'm basically pretty smart.
Anyway, Finland's theory when announcing the program was to allow everyone a chance to try a new idea. The initial move was met with skepticism from citizens who questioned whether an unemployed young person would be motivated to find a job if they were making a steady income, albeit small. By the way, $30,000 a year is not small, but in Finland, I think they were getting $680. Yeah, $685 a month for nothing. Good grief. Says a professor at the University of Helsinki, there is a fear that with basic income, young people would just stay at home and play computer games. There is a fear.
What?
It's so stupid. How stupid. I mean, we were talking recently about how some people, they believe what they believe because they live in a bubble where they suddenly convince everybody around them that they're right, and therefore they look foolish to everyone around them. That's that professor. Well, yeah, there is a fear. No. There's no fear. We know it's true.
There's already people doing that, man.
There's
Come on.
a
Get
slight
it together.
So there's a slight fear that if you jump off the house, you'll hit the ground. There's a slight no. There is fear because we know it's going to happen. We know it's true. All right, Bernie Sanders, and maybe Finland too. You are our Voda of the week. All these stories and much more. Facebook.com/Felt Recoil Show. If you support the NRA, we thank you for being here. If you support Yeti, we thank you for being here. I don't really care either way.
Yeah, I'm fully over it.
By the way,
I was over it when it started.
great move on Pelican's part. Who's right or wrong, we don't know. But the fact that they announced $10 donations to NRA with every cooler purchased, brilliant strategy. I like seeing that kind of stuff.
I like the memes that were going around. I like the Igloo, their new tagline. It's just ice. Pretty good.
I like it. All right, we'll see you back here next week for number 76 of the Felt Recoil Podcast.